Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm excited to bring you a review for the new Marvel Legends Korg Build-A-Figure wave, Star-Lord, from the movie Thor: Love and Thunder. This isn't the first action figure that Star-Lord's received, and it probably won't be the last, but this one is interesting because the guy's actually sporting some facial hair here. So it looks like old Star-Lord's grown up a bit, maturing. At least physically, probably not mentally. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Star-Lord's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll see the figure itself, we'll get a quick look at his Build-A-Figure piece, and then we'll check out all of Star-Lord's posability, we'll check out his accessories. Naturally, we'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill, comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging. Got your Korg call out up here, you got the character's name at the bottom, and then your Thor: Love and Thunder logo above that. You can see the character right here on the right side. Very, very detailed sculpt, looks nice. You got a pair of twin little space pistol things for him to wield in his hands, and then you get one of the arms for the Korg Build-A-Figure. On this side, you get some artwork of Star-Lord, and I don't know who that is, but that sure as heck does not look like Chris Pratt. That looks like some guy on the cover of like some bargain bin romance novel you would find at a Walmart or something. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be, but it looks nothing like Chris Pratt. It looks more like Chris Hemsworth than it does Chris Pratt. So I'm not sure how they got the face so wrong. I almost wonder if maybe they're avoiding using his likeness because a lot of people really have an issue with Chris Pratt for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that has nothing to do with it. I'm not sure, but it is odd. Here's that same artwork again, and I mean, maybe if I squinted in a dark room, I might think that looks like the actor, but it looks really off to me. And that's weird because normally when they do these lifelike artistic renders of MCU characters, they usually look really dead on, so I'm not sure what's going on with this guy's face right now, but it's weird. I mean, the artwork itself is beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's really, really nice drawing. Incredibly detailed, incredibly realistic looking. It's just, I don't know, it's odd, it's off. Alright, so over here, we get his name and some flavor text, and this reads, Peter Quill and the Guardians of the Galaxy return, teaming up with friends new and old to defend the galaxy from a dangerous new enemy. It's gore, by the way. Spoilers, it's gore. Alright, so down here we get a render of the Build-A-Figure, and then we get our cross-sells. So we get Thor in this full decadent armor, Mighty Thor, aka Jane Foster, Gore the God Butcher, King Valkyrie, Ravager Thor, this figure, and then his buddy Groot. So overall, very nice looking packaging. And again, the artwork, while really nice to look at, just kind of baffles me because it does not look like the actor one bit. So, not sure what happened there. Okay, now we get to see Star-Lord in hand. So first, let's look at the Build-A-Figure piece. It's the right arm of Korg. So it's got a universal shoulder joint, bicep swivel, double bend elbows, and then a universal wrist. Now, unlike his other arm, this wrist has the hinge going in this motion because it's the hand meant to hold his big club. That's something they've been doing a lot lately, is if they have a weapon-holding hand, it tends to hinge in this direction, like up and down, like you're swinging a hammer or something, rather than in and out. So it's just the choice they made for that. Either way, it looks pretty good. He's got some nice armor wrapping around the arm there. It looks good. It's a nice piece. So now we get to see Mr. Quill. This is a very highly detailed figure. There's a lot going on here. So the face sculpt, I think it comes closer to the artwork to capturing Chris Pratt's face, especially like in the eyes. I see in the eyes. The jaw seems off, like almost like the chin's too pointy. I'm not sure. Could just be the facial hair though. You can see he's got this nice little trench coat on. So he's usually got some form of like a long trench coat thing. And he's got this belt piece going across his chest right here, which is nice. And then he has a rubber vest over his actual chest. He's got universal shoulders. You can lift up like so. Now what's cool is the shoulder armor on this arm is like a separate piece that's detached from everything. So when you use his bicep swivel, it actually rotates inside the armor. So that's really neat. He's got the double bend elbows. That one does like to bend, but it will go. Universal wrists. He has an ab crunch, though because of the vest, he can't utilize it very well. Kind of hinders it. Got a full waist swivel. He's got universal hips, which luckily his trench coat moves out of the way for, so you can pose him very, very well. He's got thigh swivel, double bend knees. He's got a boot swivel, though it's pretty tight, and then your standard ankle rock and ankle tilt. So very posable figure, highly detailed, lots of layers, and one little interesting Easter egg here, he's got these little tabs on his thighs. You might be wondering, what are those for? They're for these. So check this out. You take the smaller hole in like the handle here, and you just go ahead, place it right there. And he can have them attached to his hips, so he can go ahead and just draw these things Western style and shoot at bad guys or whatever he wants to shoot at with them. And it looks good. They stay in place very well. Because the trench coat has a lot of give, they don't really get in the way of anything. It really works. Now, something I want to point out, so he comes with two like trigger finger hands because he has two blasters. Those are the only hands he comes with. And I'm noticing a real trend with this wave. So far, out of all the figures we reviewed, the only one that came with any extra hands was the first Thor, the armored one. And he only had one extra hand. None of the other figures we looked at have had any, and Groot, who we'll look at next, has one extra hand and then a vine that he can have in place of a hand. So that seems odd. I'm not used to seeing entire waves with so few extra hands. Extra hands are kind of like the big thing with Legends, because they want you to be able to pose these things and, you know, take nice photos and all that. I gotta wonder, like, are cost-cutting measures affecting this wave? This is the first wave, I believe, to officially retail for $25, like the first one to get hit with those new price hikes. So you'd think, like, oh, well, the prices went up, but at least the quality stayed the same, right? And I'm not saying any of these figures are not of good quality, but the fact that they really lack a lot of extra parts is kind of telling. I think we get, what? Jane with the one extra head, and then Armored Thor with one extra hand, and that's it as far as like swappable parts. And then of course, you know, upcoming Groot will have two. Very, very far below average. I gotta wonder if, you know, in addition to raising prices, they're cutting down on the number of accessories these guys have. It's kind of worrying. Okay, I'll get off the doom and gloom here so we can go ahead and show Peter actually wielding his little space pistol thingies. So let's see. I guess they're gonna go like this. So these hands are kind of hard to get stuff in. Like all the figures in this wave have had hands that you had to really work the accessories into, and like it's got me just a little bit paranoid that I'm gonna break something, you know? How do I get this in here? Maybe like this? Kind of scared I'm gonna break his thumb off. Not even joking. It's a little scary. Let's see. There's gotta be a way to like pull his main fingers out here. This is scaring me, guys. I don't like it. Look, there's not a lot of give at all. Like, at all. That's freaking me out. You think you should be able to get in the thumb. Oh, there we go. I think I got it. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Got the hang of it. Now, if hopefully it'll just stay in there. Alright, so we got the one. Hopefully the next one will be a little easier now that I've done it once. So definitely go for the thumb. Gotta pull it out a little, get it out of the way. Get those fingers in there. Grab the handle, buddy. You know you want to. This is nerve-wracking. I'm really afraid I'm going to break a finger off. Okay, there we go. I got him. I got him. Quill is ready to double wield his guns. There we go. His arm up, make this a little more natural looking. All right, that looks better. That looks like the Peter Quill we know when he's just ready to draw on everybody. I'm sorry that took so long. I probably could have done it faster, but I was just really paranoid that I was going to snap something off there. I don't like the way those guns go in his hands at all, because it's a very, very tight fit. And here's a little group shot I put together with the other Guardian of the Galaxy, kind of, maybe temp Guardian that I currently own, and that's our Ravager Thor that I reviewed previously. And these two make for quite a pair because you have the gunslinger character with his whole duster motif, very Western, and then you have the big lumbering lumberjack type character. It looks like he belongs in an 80s rock band. And yet somehow, despite all that, they still coordinate well. So, very interesting how that works. But, I mean, the Guardians have always been a pretty ragtag group anyway, so it also kind of works for them. Now, as we know, this toy is called Ravager Thor, and I don't currently know the relationship between the Ravagers and the Guardians, if they really are just one and the same now, if they're interchangeable, or if Thor is a Guardian proper, or how that works, or if he's just, a stowaway along for the ride. But his newest figure at least does help him blend in with his teammates there, and he looks pretty good next to Peter. And I can honestly picture these two just constantly bickering and trying to just one-up each other like they do in the movie. So having these two together, it makes for some really interesting scenes that you can set up in your collection. And this completes our look at the new Korg Wave Star-Lord. There are some things I like about this figure and some things I don't. The things I like, I love his outfit. I think it's very well detailed and sculpted. The layering on it is really, really great. I like his blasters. I like the fact that he can actually store them at his hips, like real gunslinger style. And he's got really great posability and stability. Not one to fall over much. The things that I don't like, I'm not crazy about the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt is a bit of a miss when it comes to capturing the likeness of Chris Pratt. At some angles I kind of see it, but most of the time he looks like an entirely different person. Maybe it's the facial hair and the way that comes out, I'm not sure. But I feel the head could have been better. And I also don't like the fact that he doesn't come with extra hands. And that's a big problem we've seen throughout most of this wave. Most of the figures in this wave do not have optional hands at all. And I'm not sure exactly why. This is the first time I've seen that, right? And I've collected the two most recent MCU waves prior to this. So I can only assume it's for budget cuts. And oddly enough, it doesn't seem to be affecting the more comic-based characters. Those guys tend to get lots of optional hands. So if I had to guess, I would say it's that the MCU-based figures probably require more budget because they tend to be more intricate and specialized designs, whereas you can get away with reusing the same body parts and stuff for a lot of the comic characters, right? Because a lot of them are just wearing skin-tight leotards and stuff anyway. So really easy to just recycle and save costs, whereas a figure like this, almost all of his parts are completely specialized. So there is going to be a lot more, development investment in this. So that could be why they're cutting back on giving extra hands to the MCU toys. Which, on one hand, it makes sense, I guess, if they're feeling a crunch and they have to give somewhere. On the other hand, though, of course, it's just very disappointing because we're used to a certain standard, and if this is going to be the new standard going forward, where we can just expect less for more, it's not going to sit well with people, right? Because one thing Legends is known for is displayability, right? Having optional heads and hands and parts so that you can get all these different poses and, great photo shoots. And right now, all he has is trigger fingers, which is great for his weapons, but looks really silly when he's got both of his guns, hidden away on his hips there. He's just walking around, shooting you with invisible guns or something. So not crazy about that, not crazy about the head sculpt. Everything else about this guy, though, I really do like. And I think that you will like him too, especially if you're trying to collect the cast of this new Thor movie, or you don't have a Star-Lord. If you do have one already, this figure may not be entirely necessary, because there are plenty of good Star-Lord Legends figures out there already. And honestly, I think I prefer their head sculpts over this one, because this one just seems really off to me. So despite the fact that he's quality, he may not be the best Star-Lord toy. Sadly, I don't have any others to compare to, but I have seen them, and while he's good, I feel that some might actually be better in some regards. So if you have Star-Lord and you're really more of a one figure per character type collector, you may not find much interest in this guy other than his Build-A-Figure piece if you really want to build Korg. So yeah, he's one of the more kind of maybes for me as far as whether or not I'd recommend him. It's very situational. Of course, that is just how I feel about this toy, so now I want to know what you all think of this. Do you like this figure? Are you okay with the head sculpt? Do you, find it to be maybe closer match than I do? Do you care whether or not, he's got the extra hands? Or do you not like this figure? Is, something about it just not doing it for you? Maybe you don't need another Star-Lord because he's gotten a few figures now. Maybe you don't like the, the face or the design in some way. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new Marvel Legends Korg Build-A-Figure Wave Star-Lord from Thor: Love and Thunder. And with all that said, I will see you next time.